good morning, viewers. It's another beautiful day, and we are here to keep you updated as usual. And it's still your morning dew with your very own Modot Dominic. And with me is my wonderful co-host, Engineer Ola. How are you?
I'm very fine. Good morning, Nigerians.
And this your native is so on point.
Thank you very,
you should have told me you're wearing native today. Maybe I would have done same.
Be Nigerian, buy Nigeria.
Buy Nigeria. Oh, so you see, I'm the only one that is not doing Nigerian. All right, thank you so much for joining us today. So we're going to quickly take a look at the newspaper review, what we have on the newspaper today. So, but before I dive right into what we have for newspaper bulletins, let's hear what the quote for today says. So today's quote, we're taking it from 1 Chronicles 16:34, and it says, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, and his mercies endureth forever." Give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and his mercies endures forever. So in every situation, like I used to say, give thanks to God, because he knoweth everything. He knoweth all things. He knoweth the beginning to the very end. He knows what you go through. But in as much as you keep giving thanks to him, he will always and always and always come through for you. So quickly, we'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at what we have. First, we're going to be starting with the Punch newspaper as usual. So we'll be right back shortly after this break. Welcome back from that quick break. So let's look at what the Punch has for us today. So on the Punch, we have subsidy pain. Labour talks tough. ASU protesters condemn relief plans. So the story says the groaning occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy grew louder on Monday as the Nigerian Labour Congress said it was ready to fight the economic pain and hardship caused by the federal government's decision. Also, university workers under the aegis of the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian University, the University of Lagos chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Congress of University Academic, and protesting members of the Edo Civil Society Organization lamented the subsidy removal and its attendant pains. So this is still the story that we find on the Punch newspaper. So quickly, what do you have to say?
Well, thank you very much, Modot. What I have to say is this, that in terms of subsidy removal, I think the government should take a step further by, inviting all stakeholders into their meeting before they take a decision like a fuel subsidy removal. You have to involve the labor union and let them know what you are going through. The reason why you want to remove the subsidy at this particular moment, and what is their view on that. If you take them along, such a thing will not occur. They will understand the reason why you are removing the subsidy. For example, now, I want to tell you this model. Fuel is not the mainstay of the economy in Nigeria.
Okay.
There are other sectors of Nigerian economy that need to be
looked into.
Okay, anytime there's fuel increase in Nigeria, we'll go on strike. What about when these Boko Haram people, are damaging our farms, killing our farmers?
I'm sure it's because it doesn't affect everyone. It's basically those who are living in the interior part of the country.
That should not be so, because
exactly.
And for example, in Benue State now, there's a very big problem in Benue State. Benue State is the economy seat. I mean, that is the agricultural seat of Nigeria today. Exactly. They provide most of the agricultural produce that we eat in Nigeria today, and they have a very big problem. The labor union is not talking about what is happening in Benue State. The same thing also, what is happening at Ajakuta. I can tell you that Nigerian steel means in Ajakuta is not working because the shaft there that was constructed by the Russian is not working. But they keep on lying to us, and labor will not look into that, only into fuel. So I think the federal government should learn a lesson from that anytime you want to take a policy or a decision that will affect the entire nation, you have to take everybody along. This labor union must be stakeholders before you take your decision.
Must be part of the decision making.
Yes, they will understand why it has to be so. So they'll be able to tell Nigerians,
with the masses.
Please, be merciful, be patient. This is the reason why the government is doing like this.
Thank you so much for that. So we'll take another story still on the Punch newspaper. Most Nigerian leaders' knowledge of development shallows, says Obasanjo. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Monday lambasted Nigerian leaders, stating that most of them were empty as far as development issues were concerned. Obasanjo made this remark in Abuja while delivering the keynote address at the public presentation of a book titled Reclaiming the Jewel of Africa, written by a former Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, who was served as Minister of Finance, Olusegun Aganja. So, yes, Olusegun Aganga. So, quickly, a quick story on that. So, any insight?
It's a result of Yoruba language. They say, Shago, that is to say that Obasanjo was a Nigerian president for about 8 years. Before Obasanjo came into power, we had Shagari. Shagari started at OFN, Operation Feed the Nation. And after Shagari, we had little about OFN. Today, OFN is gone.
It's gone.
Obasanjo will have built on OFN, that is Operation Feed the Nation. Today, Nigeria will
since he was still within his regime.
Within his regime. If you look at Sango Ota in Lagos to Abeokuta, when he was there, what happened to the road? Lagos to Ibadan Express Road. Obasanjo was there for 8 years. Jonathan was there. What happened to that road?
So it's easier said when you were out of that position.
Yes, even the Minister for Commerce, former Minister of Commerce, when he was there, we can't talk about his record now. So we should stop pointing our basic fingers to others when we know we ourselves too. We are guilty
of the same thing.
The same offense.
Okay, still on the Punch newspaper, we'll take another story. It says federal government 1.3 trillion subsidy debt won't affect dividend, says NNPLC. Now, further story on that says that the outstanding 1.3 trillion debt of the federal government to the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited has nothing to do with the payment of dividends to the government. The NNPCL said this on Thursday. In June this year, the National Oil Company revealed that it was expecting a refund of about 1.3 trillion naira from the Federation account as debt by the federal government. Now, it is also disclosed that this was an interagency committee constituted by the president, Bola Tinubu, was set to commence sitting to reveal the lingering debt as it stands now. So,
no, you see, when you talk about NNPC, we should look at it holistically. The federal government of Nigeria is owing NNPC which amount of money. So what NNPC is trying to say is that if you remove the amount of money NNPC is owing federal government, are supposed to go to the federal government account, you are still owing us 1.3 trillion naira. That boils back to what is happening to the fund on subsidy and on subsidy. The money we are spending on subsidy, what happens to the money? How did we spend the money? So I think the senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria now, or let's say the National Assembly, should look into that particular area. What is really happening with NNPC and federal government account? What is really happening? What is transacting between the two of them?
This is because we always do not have account for whatever we do. Because if there is transparency and there is accountability for all of this, we won't have all this.
Nigeria government is saying NNPC is owing us. NNPC is saying Nigerian government
You're also owing us. So what's the way for you can't accuse me for the same thing you're doing to me.
So we don't understand. So it's high time the federal government open up, a committee to look into the account of NNPC
exactly
and federal government oil sales accounts.
All right, viewers, we'll go for another break, and very soon we'll look at the stories that we have on Vanguard newspaper. So we'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back from that break. So we'll take a look at the story that we have on Vanguard newspaper. Now, the first story here is ministerial list, anxiety as serving ex-governors, other pile pressures on Tinubu. So now we will know that there is a whole lot of pressure right now, as the ministerial list is yet to be out. Now let's look at the story. There is palpable anxiety in the ranks of some former and serving governors of the ruling parties, All Progressive Congress (APC) and its leaders, over the delay by President Bola Tinubu in releasing the final list of ministerial nominees.
I don't know what they are looking for. I don't know what they are really looking for.
Yes, they are just being concerned that he has less than 3 days to go.
Are you saying that
the list is not
former
out?
Governors want to serve again as ministers in this regime?
Well, anything is possible in Nigeria.
The one thing Nigerian politics is that the moment you are out of politics, you are forgotten. I don't know what they are coming back to do. Give room to others to serve the economy of Nigeria. You have done your part. I don't know why they are coming back again and say, okay, former governors. Even sometimes ago, they said some former governors, former senators, they came to pay him some visits. For what? They are lobbying.
They want to remain relevant.
They want to remain in
relevant, of course.
You can't be in government forever. You have served your time.
All right, we'll take another story still on Vanguard newspaper, and this is a story of the pregnant woman. The tanker explosion that took place in Ondo State. Pregnant woman and 3 other children. Others die in the Ondo tanker fire explosion. Fresh fact emerged yesterday on how a pregnant woman and her 3 children and others were burned to death after a tanker exploded at Ore in Odigbo, local government area of Ondo State. The pregnant woman and her 3 children and 18 others said to be scooping fuel from the tanker, which crashed and spilled it over where all of this, we will have a picture of that on the screen where, the tanker collided, and then we have that people were there trying to scoop, scoop fuel from what happened.
If you look at the picture on the screen, you see that this is not a new thing in Nigeria, and most Nigerians, because of poverty, whenever they see there's a chance.
Well, I do not see it like because of poverty. I just feel is the mentality of people, and because should I say they are not learned enough or exposed to know that this are the things
before they know the after effect of a tanker explosion. When a tanker falls down, and then you go there to say you want to scoop petrol, sometimes there's an accident which is very, very dangerous. They have seen such thing in the past,
and I think,
yet they still go
well,
there.
for me, I'll also blame the officials, because these are things that the moment it happens, I believe that we're supposed to have officials on standby to make sure that that place is guarded, and we do not have people. See, human naturally, they are difficult to handle. You know, this is something that they say all the time. When you go to the fuel station, you are not expected to go with your gadgets. Even if you go with your gadget, do not receive calls. In fact, you even find the attendants of the fuel station still pressing a smartphone, and is the one selling the fuel at the same time. Does it mean that they were not educated or exposed to these things? No, they know these things, but they still want to take risk. And it's I still believe that the government officials should always take a first-hand effect on these things, because if they were there, I'm sure this wouldn't have happened.
You said it. You said if they were there. They were not there. So no, they were not there. You know, in such a place, at least we have a fire brigade, in order.
Yeah.
And fire brigade people, they may be aware of this, but if they are not called officially, they will not go there to report.
But why should they wait to be called officially, especially when the news gets to them? They were supposed to be alert on these things. This still boils down to the fact that our country has a whole lot of things to put in place. You're supposed to be active. You're supposed to be proactive about these things, so that when you hear stories like that, when things like that come up, you're on the first hand to make sure that things are being put in place. So I think everybody has a role to play in this. We all have a role to play as far as the official is concerned, and we as the masses, because I mean the woman with the 3 kids going all the way with your children to go and scoop fuel. Come on, that's too much of a risk.
It's not a new occurrence in Nigeria.
That's too much.
You know, the one that happened some times ago around the Ipaja Azix, about 23 houses were burnt down. You know,
just because of the carelessness of some persons. Half of the building were gone
before the firefighters arrived. That is one thing to say about information. And information is part of governance. So information is not quickly, attended to in Nigeria. So what do we do about that? We have a firefighters in Ore. We have in Ore, even, okay, when you get to Ore Junction, traveling to the east, when you get to Ore Junction, and on that exit, how do you see any security agent? Except for police on the road that will exhort motorists to get something from them. So the government has to look into security in Nigeria, security of lives, security of people in Nigeria. That such a thing is if an ordinary Cotonou there, if something like that happen in Cotonou, you will see their policemen on a motorbike. They will be at that particular scene and they will rescue people. But Nigerian, our policemen our security men will not do anything until they receive order from above. Sometimes they'll tell you we don't have vehicle.
Honestly, especially I think I saw a footage on that. Yesterday when some of the police officers were saying that they do not have fuel in their van to take them out for petrol. I'm like, for goodness sake, how did we get to this point? But all I have to say, and I'm still saying, is the fact that if we do not have a government that could help us, make a first hand to set situations like this, we should take it upon ourselves and make sure that we are far away from incidents like this. Because the annoying part is the people who did not even go there, who were not even part of the incident, but now they are also suffering for the misdoings of others. It's really saddening. It's really saddening. So we'll go for another break, and when we come back, we'll look at the story that we have on Tribune newspaper. We'll be right back. Welcome back, viewers. It's still your newspaper review on Morning Dew. So if you're just joining us, you haven't missed much, because we still have stories. We still need to look at what we have on Tribune newspaper. So what I have here is experts warns petrol price could hit 1,000 per litre. The federal government has been urged to intervene in the foreign exchange market to contain the likely free fall of the naira to the dollar, thereby checkmating rising price of petrol, which experts says could hit 1,000 per litre. No, and now we also have that the economists advised that the government should be wary of allowing only market focus to determine the value of the naira, as the Asian country do not succumb entirely to this display of what we are facing right now as far as the fuel price is concerned. So if an expert is saying that the likelihood that this could hit 1,000 naira as it's going, so what exactly, you imagine the fear that is going on in the heart of people today, in the heart of the poor masses in Nigeria. So let's hear your view.
You see, in the whole world, trading has started long time ago. I do not believe in all those hypotheses that they call laws, that market force determines the price of fuel. You know very well that fuel is a foreign commodity that we import to the country. Though we have crude oil in Nigeria in excess, that is enough for all Nigerian homes, but we are unable to refine this crude oil. So we have to purchase this oil from outside the country, that is import, with a price. And that price is determined by the exchange of dollars to naira. Because you can't go to anywhere in the world and say, I want to refine my oil, I want to pay in naira. It's not possible. You have to pay in dollars. And when the exchange rate is going up, what happens to the price?
Yes.
So there's nothing you can do without attacking that area. That is number one. Number two, is there any other alternative to fuel in Nigeria? I want to tell you that Nigeria today, we have to import wheat to make bread. Nigeria cannot say independently 100% I want to make bread. It's not possible. You have to import wheat. Nigerians are importing pineapple from West African countries. Pineapple. So many things are wrong. So the determinant of this is that if you do not look into the exchange rate and work on that by the federal government, the price of the fuel will not come down. That is basic. That is basic. So
my question now is, what is the relief plan that federal government is putting in place? Are they doing anything to make sure that, you know, the masses, the poor masses, are not affected by this, even if they are affected, but not to a point where they cannot even fend for their family? So what do you have to say? Is there any suggestion that you can give? If there's anything that can be done?
The former Minister of Finance, Zainab, under the regime of Buhari, this thing was planned before the arrival of Tinubu's government. They wanted to remove the subsidy, but there were lots of meetings and deliberations. They said, no, you cannot do it now. It is not time for you to remove the subsidy. Let's remove it in 2023. So when people are attacking this present government, you understand, they should look into it that this thing was pre-planned, arranged before Tinubu came into power. Now, we are talking, because Tinubu is talking about palliative to 10 million homes. That is what the federal government is now. The step is taking now that I will give every home, about 10 million homes, 8,000 naira. 8,000 naira, is that enough?
8,000 naira, busy for 1 week or for 1 month.
For me to come to the office every day, I spend 2,000 naira every day. So which means I will spend 8,000 naira in 4 days. Which means it's not enough at all.
At all.
Now again, people are saying that, suggesting that, okay, what about transportation? I want to give an example. In India, not now, let's say about 1980, in India, in the city, let's talk about it, okay, in the Tamil Nadu state, former Tamil Nadu state, now the name has been changed. We have student buses in the morning that take students to school in the morning. You know, the price is different from normal pricing in the morning. They have women bus, they have children boys, that is a school children buses that take them. And all this fall under palliatives. Because as at that time, the fuel price in India was so high. But that is what the government was doing for the masses. Transportation. Subsidy on transportation. If you want to give us subsidy on transportation, it will affect every member, every Nigerian, every sector of the economy. Okay, BRT buses in Lagos. Lagos to Jiroko, or let me say Lagos to Badagry, it is 200 naira. Lagos the government is giving us subsidy, taking subsidy from federal government, putting it on transportation. We will not feel that impact.
Yes.
If I have to take my car out, I can buy the liter for 1,000 naira. I will not feel it because I have public transportation. The train system, government should be speeding on it. Give us adequate rail line system, sea transportation. So all these transportation areas will have subsidy. Instead of giving me 8 million naira per month in my pocket, put that subsidy palliative on transportation.
Exactly.
It will affect our food. If I'm a farmer and I'm bringing goods to the market, because there is subsidy on transportation, the price of transportation from transporting the goods from my village or from my farm to Lagos market will be drastically reduced.
And then you won't have to increase the...
You don't have to increase the price of commodity. If I'm having, let's say, 30,000 naira per month is my salary, and I go to the market and I'm able to purchase goods that will last me for 1 month at 10,000 naira for the goods, I'll be okay. Because most of the agricultural products are not imported from outside the country. They are produced in Nigeria. So give subsidy to transportation, subsidy to agriculture. So there will be enough food. People can move around. Then I know very well that if I want to find my car, it has to be expensive.
Yeah, that's actually not your own detriment.
The car riding Nigeria today is becoming not available for poor masses, like it was like that in India. Also in China, what happened in China? Chairman Mao sent out 2,500 best students from their secondary schools to study all over the world. What happened to us during the time of Shagari? Shagari sent 3,000 Nigerians to study metallurgical engineering in Ukraine, in Bulgaria, in Russia. Wow. When they came back, they were not absorbed. Yes, there was no job for them when they came back. So the problem is not of today. Tinubu or whosoever is reading us now has to go deep back into history. What caused this problem in Nigeria? You are not saying that refineries you want to give it to private organizations to run refinery. It will come back to zero. It's like a circle. Yes.
No, but it's saddening that a whole country as Nigeria cannot have refinery. Not just one.
Cannot handle refinery, and they keep on putting budget on refinery. You want to repair refinery.
And at the end of the day, we do not hear nor see anything.
My problem with this labor union is that we are not talking about electricity. Yes, we are not talking about electricity. You hardly enjoy that light in Nigeria for 4 hours. At the end of the month, if you don't pay, they cut off your light.
And then the tariff.
And the union, this labor union, is not looking into that. They only say something when there's fuel increase. It means that many Nigerians are eating from that fuel pot.
Thank you so much. So thank you for staying tuned. We'll be right back shortly after this break to take news that we have from the sport. And I have Adekunle in the house, and he's here to give us what we have on the world of sport. So stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly after this. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still your morning dew, and right now we'll go into the sports headline to see what we have. And with me is Adekunle. What do you have to say?
Good morning to viewers at home. Yes, in the world of sports, we have a news yesterday that is still giving us a lot of headache in the world of sports, where a club in Saudi Arabia, Al Hilal, said they are ready to pay $333 million for Kylian Mbappe. I think that has been a real problem to sport lovers throughout the world. Will this young man go to Saudi Arabia? Will he stay in PSG or Real Madrid? He has a lot of offer, but the problem now is PSG is not ready to release him free next year. So they want him to go to Saudi Arabia because they are going to make a lot of money if he should go to Saudi Arabia. However, people have told him Saudi Arabia is a retired league. Mbappe wants to go to Saudi Arabia, forget. That might be the end of your career. He's still a young man, 24. Going to Saudi Arabia now might not be positive for him. But the issue is that money is tempting. That money is tempting. In fact, a colleague was cracking a joke this morning that thank God Mbappe is not a Nigerian. But if he happens to be in Nigeria, he will go. Because if you convert that money to Naira, I think
it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
So we'll just go to Saudi. I'll go and retire in Saudi Arabia. But let's hope the next 2-3 days we know where Mbappe will go. So we have another news. Nigeria is playing Australia tomorrow. And Super Falcons players said they are not ready to come back home. Yes, the reason is this. If Nigeria should qualify to round of 16, each player will pocket 60,000 euro. Each player of Super Falcons will pocket 60,000 euro if they should qualify for round of 16. If they are out in the first round, it's just 30,000 euro. Now, so they are just making all efforts to make sure that they qualified for the next round. That is it. Then, one news that I don't like, and I said it yesterday if you remember, that Morocco playing against Germany at the senior level, the World Cup. Oh my God, they were seriously walloped yesterday. Germany beat Morocco 6-0. It wasn't a good result for Africa because Africa is yet to win a match at the World Cup.
Wow.
South Africa lost to Sweden 2-1. Japan walloped Zambia 5-0. Morocco lost to Germany 6-0. And
that's a whole lot.
Nigeria has only picked a draw, goalless draw against Canada, and so we are playing tomorrow. Then finally, good news to all Nigerians as well. Victor Osimhen is demanding for 8 billion naira to stay in Napoli. They are not ready to make any offer for now, and they don't want to lose Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen too believes staying in Napoli now will give him an advantage, at least to make more money. But let us wait and see what will happen before then. So I think that's all we have in the world of sports.
Thank you so much for coming in. So this is where we call it a wrap for the world of sport. We'll be right back shortly, so stay tuned. Thank you so much, viewers, for still staying tuned on your morning dew, and it's been a fantastic time doing a review with you all. So this is where we'll call it a wrap for today. So your last word, Engineer Ola.
Well, as usual, be Nigerian.
By Nigeria. I love that. So maybe I am going to take a cue from what you did. Maybe tomorrow I would have to now wear native so that I would, you know, be Nigeria Look Nigeria. But above all, do not forget today's quote that says, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good and his mercies endures forever. Live a life of gratitude. Live a life of thanksgiving. Live a life of appreciating everyone around you. And this will do you a whole lot of good and also do the world at large a whole lot of good. So till we'll come your way, same time, same station, it's still your Cactv. Thank you for joining us, and it's a bye from us.